Yeah, we suck right now. The culture is actually like, I'm just praying for the Lord to deliver me from the pick sixes.
As the new NFL season officially begins with the start of free agency, there are unfortunately some things we must go over. New rules. As with most things the league has done, it's allegedly meant to improve the game, but some of them have led to more controversy than not. One of these changes that totally won't cause this is the banning of the hip drop tackle. Any infraction called by officials will now be 15 yards and an automatic first down. Another judgment call penalty and a league plagued by them. Oh, wonderful. The replay booth can now review instances of roughing the passer and intentional grounding. But knowing how well the pass interference reviews went, my hopes aren't high. What could be ironically useful are the new kickoff rules. They had to do something about them. The kickoff had been relegated to nothing but touchbacks for the most part. If you watch the XFL this past year, there'll be a slightly modified version of them. The kicker kicks off at his 35-yard line, and the kickoff special teams line up at the opposing 40. All but two players on the return team line up at the 35-yard line, not to move until the ball is received by a returner. The goal for the kicking team is to hit it in the landing zone, between the 20 and the goal line. If a ball lands or goes out of the end zone for a touchback, the ball is spotted at the 30-yard line. If it goes out of bounds, it's spotted at the 40 like it was before. Onside kicks also must be declared, thus eliminating surprise onside kicks. We'll definitely be complaining about these things in the future, but their newest gift to us comes with 2 games on Christmas. Wednesday football is back after a 4-year hiatus. The NBA is seething in the corner. So you're an upstart franchise that's found unexpected success. You found yourself a franchise quarterback immediately after hitting rock bottom as a franchise. Sometimes hitting that floor helps you do an epiphany. There is much to do to make Houston a true contender, but it shows that the time has come to add, particularly for the defense. They need to rip a pound of flesh out of their rivals. Danico Autry and Azeez Al-Shaair bribed to move south from Tennessee. Jonathan Grenard had a breakout season, but he's not transcendent. You know who is? Danielle Hunter. He's Grenard on hypothetical steroids. With a near fully guaranteed 2-year deal gifted to him, it was wise to move here. To move the rock on offense, here's Joe Mixon. A lot of wear and tear on the tires, but he can still do a job. Considering they not only acquired him from Cincinnati, but extended him sight unseen, they better be hoping their intuition is correct. It's an interesting offseason for an interesting team. If Stroud keeps developing, like Tommy Townsend punting the football, the sky's the limit. It's quite good when you aren't in the basement of the league, isn't it? Houston had their breakout performance and was rewarded with a playoff berth and crushing of Joe Flacco's comeback spirit. Now the main concern is if it's here to stay or merely an imitation of what Jacksonville goes through every 5 years. That depends if CJ Stroud is for real. His rookie season was one for the ages. And with a plethora of new riches and star power, the Texans are eager to pounce on their fallen foes. Enjoy this freshly paid Danielle Hunter for the D-line. Gaze into the metastasizing talent of Stephon Diggs. Ride on the aging workhorse known as Joe Mixon. The opportunity is there. To go further, their young core will have to continue to emerge. Potential is here, but that's a dangerous word. Jacksonville has potential. Indianapolis has potential. It means nothing if it isn't realized. Take heed of this warning and tread lightly. The AFC is a lot like recent years. Very wide open, but seems to lack the true power that it once had. Most of it has to do with general aging and salary cap constraints, but there's a lot of intrigue and probabilities to go around. You can make an argument for many teams here to make the playoffs. And that's a good thing for us all. The AFC East particularly has a new opening. While it's available, I still feel that Buffalo squeaks by despite competition from the Jets and Dolphins. The AFC North, it's still the Baltimore Ravens. They've always been a strong regular season team. The AFC South is very interesting. Every team's got a legit shot, but I'm choosing the Texans due to their talent level. The AFC West is still the Chiefs because God hates us all. But wild cards? Damn, that's tough. I'm going with Cincinnati, the Jets, and Jacksonville. Honestly, just throw darts on a billboard and you'll have a better chance at picking them. Such is how we all like it. Preferably with endless chaos. Anthony Richardson is an enigma. You'll see him chuck effortless 60-yard bombs while falling to the ground and think, holy shit, what a fucking throw. You will then counter with at least 3 short passes thrown by Rex Grossman. Fastballs everywhere. Inconsistency abound, but he is holding together a strong Colts offense with his flashes of sheer raw talent. The thing is, such a performance would be fine against some of the bottom feeders in the league. One of those teams is not Houston. They have more guns, more power, and a lot more consistency. It doesn't matter how allegedly underrated Indy's defense is when you're going up against this. It's gonna be a long, long day. How do you stop Joe Mixon on the ground? How do you contain CJ Stroud in the passing attack? Indianapolis didn't answer this whatsoever, thus resulting in a high-speed chase that the Colts could never keep up with. Even if Houston proved themselves superior in a fast-paced fight, there's only one thing that it proves. The AFC South is gonna be a very fun division to watch this year. Step 1 of division title defense is complete, but there's a long way to go. And there's a lot of talent scattered throughout. It's the first time we could say this about these teams combined in a bit. Perhaps I may have overestimated the jump Chicago would make this year. Upending a team with no quarterback is one thing, but when you're up against Houston's burgeoning machine... Oh, God. Oh, good. Fuck. God! What have you done, Bears? Is your O-line made out of paper mache? I thought you were supposed to have fixed this shit. The Texans shit-wreckers went ham. 7 sacks and 36 pressures. 30 fucking 6! Jesus Christ, you guys trying to get Caleb embalmed or something? These boys straight up bullied you on the defensive side of the ball. But Houston was more than giving them chances to win. All they could do for the most part was take penalties and fumble near the end zone. And they should have had even more penalties. Apparently, it's perfectly legal to punch a dude in the face. El Shair's paying homage to the bad boys and the rest follows suit. Dead serious, if the Bears have anything resembling an interior O-line or quarterback play, they win. Caleb, dude, this isn't the Pac-12. You can't play hero ball and chuck balls into double and triple coverage willy-nilly. This dude isn't just off kilter, he's missing targets by 10 yards. Be fair, with that O-line, no one succeeds. I have serious concerns about Caleb so far, but it's early and I probably should be patient. But that's hard to do when this team needs his peak now. Welcome to the NFL, man. Like the Texans, it'll eat you alive if you aren't careful. Think that all the adversity and heartbreak the Vikings had led them to a glorious bounty beyond human comprehension? Not just winning football games, but dominating them? Against a burgeoning juggernaut in Houston? Okay, Minnesota, you can pump the brakes on the fast start sometime. If you're not careful, you may give the fans some of this dreaded hope that kills them every December. Sam Darnold driving this bus all over the field with dazzling football and incredible feats through the air. I'm still having a hard time fathoming Darnold realizing his potential. We've strayed into the wrong timeline. Darnold as an MVP candidate? Someone create a parallel universe and go back to March to alter history. This might be the most unpredictable one. Even more so than the Texans loving yellow flags thrown at them. I've seen 3-year-olds with more discipline. Back-to-back pre-snap penalties. All of them on Laramie Tunsil? Houston didn't just lose, they got punched in the mouth repeatedly. General Mills had to go into mop-up duty, it was so bad. This is why you don't get high on your own farts. Because this league is like crabs in a bucket. You try to escape, your ass is getting dragged back into the muck. Even Minnesota will someday. They're 3-0. Really? Put up or shut up time, Duval. Only one team has ever made the playoffs with an 0-4 start. And you certainly don't look like the type to make that sort of surge. Trevor Lawrence hasn't just stagnated, you can make the argument that he and the offense have drastically regressed. They went from one of the more promising units to being unable to do a damn thing most of the time. It's infuriating. Jacksonville is literally getting every chance it can to win. Houston's begging them to do something about it. If I didn't know any better, I'd say they Venmo'd the Texans O-line to keep taking penalties. It's the 3rd week in a row where Laramie Tunsil turned into a pre-snap penalty cornerstone. But what's Duval without terrible red zone offense? Move Press Taylor. What are you, crazy? They'll accept failure down there, for it is a necessary sacrifice. Besides, they still have the lead. I don't know how, but they have the lead. This is way too much pressure for the Jags, they must find ways to ruin it. They're late in the 4th quarter, up by 3. It's a must-convert drive, and you're passing the ball? For 2 straight downs. Your running game was doing all right. Why aren't you burning their timeouts? Well, good job, Doug. Your full-court press offense fucked up again. Defense is exhausted and CJ Stroud is dicing down the field with all but no resistance in return. A comeback isn't just a possibility, it feels inevitable. Get it done, Texans. Put these frauds in the rubbish where they belong.
Run. A play fake. Stroud on the move. Across the line. Touchdown!
Houston tried to nudge them to success. All the Jags had to do was be anything resembling a competent team, and they couldn't even do that. The same damn things keep popping up. Nothing is being learned. This is the best team in Jags history? With the head coach who doesn't know why people are calling for his head? Houston merely swept up the trash. They're dancing through raindrops themselves, but who cares? Win's a win. Jacksonville could have really used one of those. Stephon Diggs' revenge game. He may have dropped the ball in the playoffs last year, but he won't drop it today. In fact, Houston as a whole won't drop it in the first half, overcoming the issues that plagued them in past weeks to dominate a supposed contender in the Bills themselves. The offense may be going through Nico Collins instead of Diggs, but Buffalo is once again being laid to heal. The AFC hierarchy is changing and the Bills can do absolutely nothing about it. Then Nico Collins was lost. And they forgot one rule. Josh Allen isn't real. He's a figment of our imaginations. One snap of the fingers and it's suddenly a tight contest thanks to a couple of offensive splash plays. Did someone replace the Texans at halftime? This team has suddenly become a mercurial enigma and I don't know what to think of it. Houston self-destructing in front of our very eyes. The supposedly overcome vices are coming back to haunt them. CJ Stroud fumbling a critical play and all the momentum in the world. You'd think Buffalo would snatch a win from Houston's cold dead hands. We forgot the other problem. Sean McDermott is brain dead. His answer is to predictably run for nothing. Rush Josh Allen out of concussion protocol to throw a pass that gets James Cook out of bounds, then gets flushed out of the pocket to throw it out of bounds. Busted at the table. The field goal will be taken to tie. It gets even worse from there. Explain this to me. The Bills get the ball with 30 seconds left. You're near your own goal line. Houston has all 3 timeouts. So you're chucking deep balls on 3 straight downs? With a visibly concussed Josh Allen, who went 9 for fucking 30 on the day. Are you trying to get yourself fired, Sean? You've given the Texans too much time with the ball in your territory. Even a few seconds is way too much time. And Kaimi Fairbairn will punish you for it.
Snap. Placement. Sweeps the leg. Fairbairn! It's gone!
Congratulations, Sean. You're a goddamn moron. Your actions on those last 2 drives cost your team the game. You probably won't win a ring here, but you will win Locale of the Week. Put that in your resume when the Bills finally fire your ass. Houston, just run. Don't ask questions. If you do, it may lead to ugly truths. There's an unfortunate stipulation in trying to kill Jacoby Brissett. He's union. They won't allow him to work in such conditions. This means that Drake May is being thrown in horrifically unseasoned because the Patriots like defiling them young. And his first real test is Houston. New England just built a fine coffin. Get in, Drake. This offensive line's gonna get him killed. Even if he looked decent enough in his first game, the team around him is awful. If they can't get him insulation, they'll Mac Jones him in no time at all. Despite his efforts, the Texans merely had to hold their hands out for it and it would stop any sort of resistance. Houston went to New England and came out slaughtering every firstborn son. CJ Stroud sent them back to a puritanical standard of life. Almost 200 yards of rushing. No chance in hell for Belichick's leftovers. You think this is bad for New England? Next week it's a potential tank bowl for the ages. This is punishment for the Boston Massacre, London. A bout with a lot on the line for both teams. Stephon Diggs is more than ready for it. He's trying to start fights with everyone in pregame warm-ups. He won't do much of anything in the game itself, but I don't think anyone is. This game wasn't exactly pretty. It was far from it. Brutalist and raw like unshaped clay. With a ton more imperfections out of the box. CJ Stroud, this ain't a Joe Barry unit you're facing. Is the Packers defense that good to the point where he's limited to less than 100 yards passing? Just shut down one of the rising stars at the position without breaking a sweat. The Texans couldn't stop the relentless pressure upon him. Stroud only completed 3 passes in those conditions. A living hell. On the other end, Jordan Love is Brett Favre. I'm not kidding, he is the spitting image of Favre. Hopefully without the dick pics and stealing money from the poor. Dazzling feats of power only to throw some of the more mind-numbing picks you'll see from a QB. What you get is an incredibly close matchup that's more defensive than one might think with these 2 groups. The second half is a stalemate. No ball will move. Only stagnation and strangulation. Until the Texans get their final drive. Down by 2 in the fourth, they finally remove the obstacle in the way of progress and move the ball. Yet they're stopped by the Packers defense in the red zone. They take the lead with a field goal. There's only one problem. They left too much time on the clock. Houston's getting stymied at their own game. And the Packers have the chance to commit a great heist in this NFL season. There's only one risk. Green Bay has to trust a kicker. Brendan McManus, here's your chance to not get killed.
He's got this to win it. Low snap, the kick. It is good.
Congratulations, Brandon. You get to live and see another day. Houston suffers a tough loss and questions to ask themselves about offensive sustainability. Green Bay gets a crucial win not just for their own ambitions, but to keep up with the foes in this next contest. I was saying the AFC South was going to be a fun division to watch in Week 1? This is torture. A true contender that's somehow underachieving against a hypothetical corpse that's somehow overachieving. The final result is agony to anyone with the misfortune of watching it. The problem with Indianapolis drunkenly stumbling everywhere is that they drunkenly stumble. Houston's trying everything to hand them the game in the division. From broken coverages to endless pre-snap penalties to relentless fuck-ups on offense, the Colts should be 5-3. Yet you know damn well why they aren't. Anthony Richardson's terrible. Fans are gonna pretend that it's everything but him. Pass deflections and miscommunications are signs that it's not his fault, but it fucking is. He has 2 good passes a game and the rest are wild inaccuracies and terrible decisions. That interception before halftime, that shit gets you reamed at the high school level. Jonathan Taylor's rumbling in the second half, but with an unreliable QB, they can't do anything with the opportunities. Indy's defense is playing their heart out, and this is the reward they get? It was a game of literal inches. If a Texan doesn't scrape the jersey of a defender when he's recovering a fumble, they win. If the Colts play Joe Flacco, they win. Simple as that. Yet it doesn't happen. They say AR needs to develop, but you'd think trying to get out of bounds on a 2-minute drill with no timeouts would be common knowledge? Houston wins in spite of themselves. Again, can we just sim through the rest of the Colts season and call it a day? I'm tired of watching this group aimlessly shuffle through the year with shitty quarterback play and a battered defense. Anthony Richardson is also tired. There's a place where he can rest and develop whatever skills he has, you know. The bench. Beware of spooky and ghastly sights on Halloween. Enter a haunted place with limbs and ligaments scattered throughout. MetLife Stadium! There will only be horrible football in this house of abominations. Only the worst of what the NFL has to offer. Fumbling away as the evil chases them at every turn. Hunting Malachi Corley! Seriously, Malachi? You pulled a fucking Deshaun Jackson? Did you not pay attention in class or something? Instant lockout of the week. Get the fuck out of here, Corley. Get out. Out. I don't want to see you or the Jets anymore. Got so many damn chances to do something, but the offense is dead on arrival. Standard Thursday night football. Houston can't do jack and shit either, so all they need is fucking something. Jesus, Jets, can you not be pathetic? At least they're finally scoring points in the second half. And the Texans are doing their standard begging their opposition to win the game. It's a long drive, but New York has 3rd and long. No, I'm not expecting much here.
4-man rush. Rodgers to the end zone. And Wilson, can he one-handed and stay in bounds?
Jesus Christ, Garrett Wilson literally did the Jordan pose. Apparently we all have to drink cayenne pepper and water this week. Donate your paycheck to Garrett. The Jets get to pretend that they're still relevant as they rise from a ghastly affair to get to 3-6. Houston got too generous, and the team finally bit their damn hand. Am I surprised that it happened? Not really. The Jets were favored for a reason. They've been pulling this shit all year and they look extremely fraudulent right now. Do they even have an offensive line? They're one step away from picking up guys up the street, it's so bad. Stroud got sacked 8 times and could do nothing. Not to mention they just lost Kenyon Green for the year, but considering how he struggled, that might be for the best. This is a lot more than losing wide receivers. This is just embarrassing. Get your fucking shit together, Texans. And do it now. So it appears that the Texans took my advice to heart last week. Houston's pushing the envelope hard against one of the best teams in football. The one that humiliates others is tasting their own medicine. This is a completely different group than the one against the Jets. Jared Goff has returned at the worst time. He's tried so hard to repress this form, and his schizophrenic passing gifts picks up plenty. He's about to rival Ty Detmer for most interceptions in a Lions game. Good Lord. This is turning into a laugher, and it'll continue to be so. For Detroit, Houston cucks themselves at every turn after half. I know you want us to win, Lions, but please take the ball. I absolutely insist you do. For fuck's sake, Texans. Bobby Slowick went from a media darling and offensive wunderkind to a guy who doesn't adjust his wiper blades during a downpour. It's back to the same old shit. Second half Stroud really is a thing. The third quarter Texans are a joke. And the fourth quarter isn't much better. Jesus Christ, they've dominated the turnover game and they're only up by 3? Limp-dick defensive drives are only going to exhaust the defense. And that's what they end up doing. Another Lions push into field goal range and the game is tied. For fuck's sake, Texans, you have the chance to do something. They fuck it up on a third down, but Fairbairn's money, even from 58 yards out. Kaimi missed. Are you fucking kidding me, Houston? I don't care if the refs missed a penalty. You had countless chances to bury the Lions and you refused to do so. Now they're in field goal range and about to win.
52 for the win. It is just good. Just inside the upright. Jake Bates, hometown hero.
What the fuck? Jared Goff threw 5 interceptions. The Texans had 23 first half points and Detroit looked lost, yet they win. Even Jake Bates was saying it felt scripted. I was about to say that Houston was getting out of fraudulence and they revealed themselves as 5-alarm imposters. Detroit is gritty and tenacious. The Motor City smells weakness when they're about to pounce. The sweat's the giveaway. They know the tell. They were molded by failure. Houston's a mere novice in this art. They need to suffer a frustrating year or 60 before they can master it. Oh, Houston, will you ever cease to stop infuriating us at every turn? You're just lucky that Mike McCarthy went back to the fake punt in his own territory well again. Maybe he was traumatized by the piece of metal dropping from the roof before the game. He's a moron, we knew this, but I'm not shocked that it was a very close game for long stretches of time. The Texans have been doing this all year. Nothing but a struggling offense led by CJ Stroud's sophomore slump and Laramie Tunsil's new favorite color, yellow. The only thing performing to ability right now on that end is Joe Mixon, and he debilitated this dead star with 3 TDs on the day. They're just lucky this time around. If they aren't facing a rotting corpse in the Cowboys, this game probably turns out differently. Hell, it was extremely close for over a half, yet Dallas kept shooting themselves in the dick. Houston gave them a gift by slapping them silly on a 64-yard field goal. They gave it right back on overnight shipping. Did you see that play call on 4th down trailing by 10? Cutting off half the damn field immediately. What a genius decision, Mike. At that point, the game turned on a dime. The Texans finally realized that they have divisional aspirations and buried Dallas in Jerry's dome. You just want to reach in your TV and slap some sense into Houston. They're capable of so much more than this. At least they won, but do they have to be so unsightly? The score was deceiving, kind of like Joe Mixon's elusiveness. I'll congratulate you when you beat a real team convincingly. Houston Texans aren't frauds. It's far too kind of a word to properly describe them in 2024. After what they did against Tennessee, they are the emperor without even a loincloth to cover him in public. Goddamn sposed. This wasn't a game. It was repeated self-flagellation by both groups, begging for forgiveness from at least several gods for the pathetic displays of football being shown to a national audience. These teams weren't just drunk, they were marinating in a tequila cask. Sloppy, incoherent, disheveled, and suffering the worst hangover imaginable the morning after. Do you want proof? Will Levis was buried in the backfield 7 times in one half. The Titans are leading. That's all you need to know. But Levis is a master of memes. CJ Stroud can throw 2 of the worst passes in the NFL season for brutal picks, but he can't be one-upped. He'll surrender Cobra one of the most brutal pick sixes seen in an age since he doesn't have X-ray vision to see behind his receiver. Seriously though, I'm getting Nathan Peterman vibes from this pick. That ain't good. Houston's only up by 1, however. Plenty of game left. The Titans then remember they have a tank and their special teams. Good lord, what a fucking disaster. Gives Houston a chance, but they can only muster a Fairbairn field goal. All they have to do is make a damn stop and they're giving up 70-yard touchdowns down the middle of the fucking field to Chigakonkwo? Is this where things fall apart or what? Turns out it might be. Houston fails on their drive, but the Titans suffer a 3-and-out deep in their territory. The Texans finally fucking do something. A touchdown to Nico Collins is... Houston undoing a touchdown with a pre-snap penalty. Hold on, let me put on my shocked face. Can you fuckers do anything right? But they are able to move the ball into the red zone with a few passing plays. They can escape their repeated incompetence with their most reliable weapon making a chip shot to tie. Holy shit, man! If you don't believe the Texans deserve this outcome, you're a damn fool and you should go to the corner in shame. Such a garbage fucking team that squanders every last bit of potential they have by poor planning and execution. The luster's wearing off them like CJ Stroud's sophomore slump. How fitting he pulled an Orlovsky on the final play. We saw this team as a Super Bowl contender. If their division weren't so shit, I'd peg them for a 2023 Jacksonville arc. But I doubt the Colts are going to get their shit together enough to overcome it. I haven't laughed at this much of a joke since Jim Gaffigan. At least he's trying to be funny. The only thing more hilarious here is Tennessee fucking up their tank. No team stock has fallen as hard as the Texans over the past 2 months. I consider getting the SEC involved. There has to be a few executives who sold off their shares for a golden parachute. Jags have been in the same boat more than a few times. Hell, it happened to them last year. Trevor Lawrence is back, but it's out of complete desperation to save Dougie P's job. He's visibly ailing and nowhere near full strength. If he's healthy, even for the Jags' ineptitude, they probably win. But the NFL doesn't base itself on hypotheticals. Houston won in quotations. In no way conceivable did they look any good. They play 25 other franchises, they're getting crushed. This defense is letting Mac Jones dice them up, outright imploding on their final 2 drives. What would this team do without Joe Mixon? But we've been over how shitty the Texans are. I'd just be repeating myself. Same for Duval. You may have heard me say Mac Jones a few sentences ago. There's a big reason for it.
Oh, there's no doubt that Trevor represents them well. And oh my, that'll be Al Shire, who's flagged for the big hit on the slide, and that's going to start a little bit of a scrum afterwards as the Jaguars come in to protect their QB.
Thought Vontaze Burfict retired years ago. What a bitch move. A blatant helmet-to-helmet hit when T-Law began his slide a while ago. Yet Azeez Al-Shaair wants to keep fighting everyone after the fact? I don't know. Maybe it's the fact that Lawrence might be shut down for the year is why they're pissed? Suspend Azeez for the year and then some. This isn't the first time this has happened. Enjoy your pity win, Houston. Hope you get blown the fuck out at home in January. You can join Jacksonville on the couch when it happens. It's that time of the year again. When the playoffs start to peek into the picture and we discuss the scenarios at hand. Such a chaotic time, but not really for the AFC. Their picture's pretty much set, barring a collapse or two. Kansas City and Buffalo have already punched their tickets to the dance. Pittsburgh will most likely with another win. Houston's only saving grace is that their division is ass and they have tiebreaker over the Colts. Baltimore, the Chargers, and Denver bring up the surprising wildcards of this conference. Indianapolis is still gunning for that final spot, even if it's a long shot. Miami and Cincinnati are still alive, but barely. There's been a lot of disappointment for teams this season, but there's still a chance they remembered the rules.
Don't get eliminated!
1 month left. Get your tickets to the postseason ready now or be left out in the cold. We know the drill by now. The AFC hasn't seen much change from last week. No clinchings, but Pittsburgh's one step closer. Houston, Baltimore, and Denver were on bye, but the Chargers lost to Kansas City's Black Magic, make it a 3-way tie. It's not set in stone. Indianapolis is a paper-soft schedule to end the year. Beating Denver will go a long way towards a hilarious berth. Miami and Cincinnati are both still alive, but have a steep road ahead of them. You aren't out of the dance until you hear the dreaded words told to a few teams already. You know them by heart.
Don't get eliminated!
One of the biggest matchups of the NFL week comes between two teams that are honestly underachieving on a grand scale. Houston's record's deceiving if you haven't been watching them. Miami's just a hot mess rivaling Florida humidity in the summertime. This game more than reinforced both these narratives, but the true agony came for the Dolphins. In this setting, Tua was afflicted with the dreaded case of Carson Wentz syndrome. He completely shit the bed. Tua turned the ball over, made an encore appearance at the worst possible time. Terrible turnovers delivering retribution to a barrage of haters in his wake. That interception near the end of the first half was devastation rivaling a hurricane. Stingley and Lassiter may be an outstanding cornerback pair, but Miami did themselves no favors here. It's the epitome of their season. Have opportunities to get back in the game. Houston's offense can do absolutely nothing for entire drives at a time. The Finns are only down by 8. Tua should easily get them back into the affair, if he isn't throwing terrible picks. More frustrations aplenty for both franchises and a slow decay to dust and ash. The Texans have been miserable as well, but Miami wanted the loss so much more. How does this game end? Why are you even asking? It's a final showing from Tua turned the ball over. If the Ravens are a paper tiger, the Dolphins aren't even a paper kitten. Glorified stat patterns that can't beat anyone with a winning record in the McDaniel era. And that benefits Houston. They've been incredibly shitty this season, but the AFC South is even worse. They win the division by default. Whoop-de-doo. Three games remain. This week was critical in deciphering the playoff formulas, but it doesn't mean that we're anywhere close to a solution. We need to go deeper. The AFC's number 1 seed is Kansas City's for now, but with Buffalo's tiebreaker and the Mahomes injury, things could be getting complicated there. The AFC North will be all but decided this Saturday. Steelers and Ravens locking horns. If Pittsburgh wins, they clinch it outright. If Baltimore breaks them, they control their own destiny there. The loser will secure a wildcard spot, and the other two are up for grabs. Denver's all but secured one with last week's win, but the Chargers are solely in 7th. They should make it barring a collapse. They do fall. Indy gets first rights, followed by Miami and Cincy. All three are on life support, however. Get ready. These words are gonna come in handy.
Don't get eliminated!
Good Lord. I knew the Texans were having a frustrating season, but this game may have taken the cake. Look, we all knew Kansas City was winning this one. Patrick Mahomes got a few healing spells done on his ankle and was good to go. All that happens thereafter is endless gaslighting. A fumble return for a Houston touchdown. You mean a roughing the passer call on Derek Barnett. This will totally be understood and in no way fuel rampant allegations of ref ball. At this point, I'm just expecting flags to fly when Kansas City messes up. They're mostly legit penalties too, which is the hilarious part. Throughout the game, the Chiefs do their thing and the Texans merely have to take it with extra brutality in the process. Nothing screams Houston season like Tank Dell catching an incredible ball for a touchdown to tie the game, while suffering a devastating knee injury in the process. Jesus Christ, the dude suffered a major knee injury last year and you give him another via friendly fire? CJ Stroud doesn't need any more misery to go with this slog of a year. This is pain so strong that it can be felt throughout several football worlds. And to add a dollop of shit on the torn ligaments, Fairbairn missed the extra points. Just piss on their grave while you're at it. Houston could never recover from such devastation. They lose to the Chiefs' sorcery like many before them. When you suffer another demoralizing drive from Mahomes grinding out play after play, there's little you can do. Houston's made the playoffs, yes, but this all but sentences them to the 4th seed. Kansas City's one step closer to a first-round bye. I'm hoping for a twist from the scriptwriters. There better be one this year. The time has come to crunch. We're nearing the finish line. And there's still plenty of positions at the round table to play for. The number 1 seed in the AFC will be decided as such. Kansas City's a winning clinch. The Bills need to win out and the Chiefs to lose out to secure it. It's very possible considering their respective opponents. The AFC North is wide open after the Ravens win last week. However, the Steelers still control their own destiny. But if Pittsburgh slips up, Baltimore can make their move. The wildcard slots are pretty much set in stone, barring a collapse or two. Liquid LA and Denver are all but a shoo-in, just needing to win and they're in. The Broncos' opponents aren't exactly slouches, though. Indy, on the other hand, is playing glorified JV squads. Cincy and Miami are also chomping at the bit if they fall apart. Don't be left out in the cold, NFL world, lest you suffer the greatest humiliation.
Don't get eliminated!
Prepare for the ultimate revenge game of 2024. Deontay Johnson taking on the team he was upset with for lack of playing time. Paying tribute to his tenure in Baltimore, his new team didn't show up. The Texans aren't just dead, they've been rotting for weeks. I thought the Steelers were humiliated on a national stage. Houston made them look like the truest sense of a fucking contender. This was not seen from Meaning of Life where a bunch of kids played an all-star rugby squad. shoving them in the mud, body slamming them on the mat, exposing CJ Stroud for a sophomore slump rivaling Mac fucking Jones. Lamar put up Tecmo Bowl numbers in the process, setting the record for most career rushing yards by a QB. He's in year 7. Jesus. In tradition, the Ravens slapped their nutsack across Houston's face. Crushing the withered foes beneath them has brought them back to their rightful place in the AFC hierarchy. The tune-up for January is almost complete. Now do us all a favor and don't beat yourselves yet again, pretty please. This week settled a lot of questions, particularly with seeding in the AFC. The contestants have dwindled to a few, but there are a couple of spots up for grabs, mainly in the AFC. The North is still undecided. Baltimore now controls their own destiny in this regard. Win and claim it. If they lose and Pittsburgh wins, the division will run through them instead. The final piece of the AFC puzzle is the 7th seed. Denver holds it for now, but a skid leaves them in danger. They're fortunately still win or tie and in. If they slip up, Miami gets the spot if they win. If Denver and Miami lose, Cincy will sneak into the picture. If everyone loses, the Broncos still get it. Oh, what a time it is to be a fan. The stakes are higher than ever. And there are 3 words that echo throughout time and space.
Don't get eliminated!
Nothing will be more hilarious to me than the Titans donning their old baby blues and going by the Oilers every time Houston comes to town. Sheer pettiness that has Bud Adams smiling while watching TV in Hell's spacious bar. He was sipping on that whiskey down there as his franchise got the shit kicked out of them by the Texans' backups. General Mills and Damian Pierce running all over them as if it's 2022. Hell, it's a game full of throwbacks and who's who in the world of football. Will Levis even made a final appearance before he's traded for a 6th-round pick. A fine send-off to a horrifically disappointing season. Yet look to the future. Another quarterback in the mystery box of the draft will be yours. The game was meaningless. Houston can have the small victory. They have what's really important in the grand scheme of things. But while the Titans may have most of Houston's history and traditions, the Texans are forging one of their own. Saturday afternoon wildcard games. Take that, bud. The final stage is set. 14 teams remain and are ready to duel to the death. Only one shall remain. And the defending back-to-back contender receives a first-round bye to recharge their mana points for more bullshit. Gunning for revenge, Buffalo has a shot, but will have to take care of business against Denver first. The Ravens receive another showing of AFC North football. The rivalry with the Steelers will add another chapter after Pittsburgh's near-traditional collapse. Liquid LA usurps the 5th seed at the last moment and will travel to Houston to face an ailing fraud squad. In the NFC, the Lions stand tall, despite missing several limbs and vital organs. Coming in second, Philadelphia controls it and faces a team that's upended such a foe last season. Be careful with Green Bay. I'd also be careful if I were the commies. Tampa Bay's been playing with fire, and in their home stadium, it could be a nightmare. Meanwhile, Minnesota's forced to head to LA for a master versus apprentice showdown. Things are hopefully going to get spicy. You ever win something you in no way deserve to? That's been the story of these Houston Texans. Frauds that rival Charles Ponzi winning a terrible division by default. If you haven't been paying attention, you'd ask me why I'm saying this about a Super Bowl contender. Well, the offense bolted and shriveled like Bobby Slowick's reputation. Like their offensive line, a poorly controlled, oft-penalized calamity. Laremy Tunsil made a Pro Bowl, and the only thing he did was commit wave after wave of false starts. The receiving core is destroyed. If Joe Mixon isn't doing anything, it's useless. Turns out CJ Stroud can't throw when he's blitzed. It doesn't matter if their edge rushers and secondary is elite if that offense is gonna die most drives. Evolution? More like slumlords. Have you seen the rest of the AFC South? They're even more incompetent. This season has taken us from football heaven to the depths of unwatchable hell. When there's money to be made, the product does not matter. Yet the playoffs are a different beast. In the end, there can be only 2 contenders dueling for the ultimate prize. I'm not even gonna try to be optimistic it's gonna be Chiefs versus Eagles. The matchup no one outside those cities want because the football gods desire salt. They're shitposters at heart. Very predictable ones, but I respect the dedication. We all hope for something different, but we said that last year. Look what happened. Regardless, good luck to all teams involved. They're probably gonna need it. It's over. The miserable slog of a team failing to reach their potential taken out a week later than expected. I know what everyone's gonna say. Oh my god, it's the refs. They're rigging it so that the Chiefs can three-peat. Look, I love me a good conspiracy as much as the next man, but unfortunately for us, the refs don't play offensive line or special teams. Kaimi Fairbairn was missing kicks that he normally nailed. That was probably the Deus Ex Machina controlling him. With that offensive line, everyone and their mother knew they sucked. Refs forced them to surrender 8 sacks on Stroud. There were about 5 or 6 in the fourth quarter alone. Spagnuolo's defense stiffened up in the clutch. The Texans just went stiff. That blocked field goal was icing on the cake. Houston spent more time whining about ref ball than they did admit their own faults. Fucking loser behavior. The Chiefs' beatings will continue until we submit.